Welcome to the Simply Pediatrics Podcast, simplifying holistic healthcare for infants and children. We're so glad you're here. Join Jennifer Zethner, holistic pediatric nurse practitioner and holistic mom of 3 on a mission. Listen in as she shares the answers to the most asked questions from parents in her practice every day and offers parents practical strategies and actionable steps to support their child's health and well-being. Enjoy this insightful episode of the Simply Pediatrics Podcast and stay tuned for more information at the end of the podcast.
Hi, I'm Jennie Zethner. That's right, I'm here in my car. I don't know about the rest of you, but I find sitting in my car to be very peaceful. It happens to be one of the quietest places I have in my life. I have 3 children. I work full time. I'm busy like the rest of you, and I really would like to share information, and doing it from my car is most convenient. So I'm going to ask you to please forgive if there's any commotion behind me, any beeping, any dogs barking, ambulances, fire trucks, etc. I'll do the best I can to find quiet places. I assure you I will never be driving my vehicle when I speak to you. I will always be pulled over and parked. I am typically parked waiting for one of my children to come out of an event or something. So that is what I'm doing with my time here. And I look forward to sharing information with you. And again, forgive me for being a little unprofessional being here in my car, but I hope it works. And with that, let's get started.
Today's episode, Swaddling.
Hi and welcome. I'm so happy to be with you here today. We are going to talk about swaddling. So this goes along with like the first week of life conversations that I have with families, and really goes into like the first month. Kind of swaddling your baby is like a big thing now. I mean, there's crazy videos on TikTok, on Facebook about people swaddling their babies. So it's just like the baby's head, like it's just their little head there, like they're all wrapped up. And I guess it's cute and it looks adorable. And there's all kinds of devices. There's Velcro and there's zippers and there's even weighted ones that keep the kids in place. Okay, understand this. I get it. When they don't move, they don't really wake up quite as often, and they might sleep a little bit longer. But you know what else it does? It hinders development, significantly hinders development. It also can cause a baby to become an anxious young little child. And I'm going to explain why. Many of these swaddling devices, the Velcros, the zippers, pin their arms down, right? So they can't get to their hands. What they are inhibiting when they do this is called the Moro or the startle reflex. So the babies can't do this with their arms. And the parents say, yeah, I don't want them to do that. That's what wakes them up. And even the advertising for some of these devices talks about how you'll prevent them from having a startle reflex so they won't wake up. Okay, we're supposed to have a startle reflex as babies. Babies only have a few protective mechanisms, right? And a few of them are their reflexes. And one in particular is called the startle or the Moro reflex. And that's when their arms go up in the air like this, like I just showed you, right? We've all seen that. It wakes a baby up. I get it. And you don't want them to do that. I understand. But if they're going to wake up, they're supposed to wake up. Right? The other thing that the startle reflex does is it potentially assists a baby if perhaps they need to cough or sneeze or just move their body and jostle themselves around a little bit. It also does, what it does is it helps them to manage sounds and noises. So we learn as human beings, right? We learn through experiences, and babies learn through, in those early weeks there, through sounds and noises. When a baby has a startle reflex, it actually is assisting their brain in developing because they're having an experience. They hear a noise, their body startles, and then their brain develops. So, for example, if a baby lives in a home where there's a dog or a toddler, for example, who erratically makes noises, just like a dog will erratically bark. Every time that baby gets startled from that erratic sound, it goes through the motions of startling, their arms flinging up and then coming back down, and the brain processes that noise, right? So if they aren't able to startle and move their hands up, are they still being startled? Is their body still getting like a little nervous system jolt? Yeah, except they're not able to process it. So the brain isn't getting the same kind of input as it would if the body was a part of that startle. So each time the baby hears that noise, for example, the dog barking or his brother or sister making a large noise, their brain can process that through that startle movement. And over time, the brain comes to find that that's not something that they need to be worried about. And eventually, you'll see your baby no longer really startles when they hear that noise because they've now processed it to be safe and the brain is comfortable with it. So they won't startle as easily from that noise. Now, the opposite is when we keep our babies all swaddled up and their arms down and that dog or that toddler makes a loud noise, their body still gets a jolt. Their nervous system is still jolted. However, the brain can't process it properly because there's not an actionable movement with it. Does that make sense? So the brain learns at these early ages through movement. All right. So it hinders development in that it causes children potentially to become more anxious as they get older because now their brain isn't processing startled noises the way that it should be. It also inhibits their ability to sort of, wake up and wake you up because they need you, and potentially can prevent them from a choking episode because they can startle themselves, move their airway around, and move their head and their hands. Also, some very smart infants early on can get their hands right into their mouth and can start to self-soothe. So, this is why this is a whole podcast about swaddling, people. It seems like not a big deal, but I can't believe since my children were babies how many devices there are, how many just blatant devices there are that actually advertise that we will stop your baby's startle reflex. Oh my goodness, United States, how long does it take for us to have an item out on the shelf before it gets recalled? Trust me, these will be recalled. I don't know when exactly, but they will be because it is absolutely not safe. So what is safe to swaddle? Your baby was in the womb for 9 months. They certainly like to be cocooned, right? They were in a small, tight space. So they enjoy being in a small, tight space, ideally in your arms. You can swaddle your baby like a little burrito, but their arms need to be right up by their face. So when you do wrap them with like a swaddling blanket, their hands need to be kind of like right here, right by their face. So that if they have a startling episode, they can easily bust out of their cocoon, if you would. And that's a safe swaddle. And really that's done with like a swaddling blanket that's a little bit loose so that they can break out of it. All the other devices, as far as I'm concerned, should really be taken off the market because they're not safe for babies. And for any of you out there that have, the 1 and 2 year olds and you're still swaddling them, that's kind of a restraint. So absolutely, there's no age that's safe to swaddle your baby from the time they come home until they're bigger. Please do not swaddle and keep them contained. There are many cultures that have been doing this for a long time, and they consider that, it's cultural and they consider that safe. And again, not safe. Not even if your grandparents have been doing this and this is the way that you've been doing. I don't agree. I don't believe that it's safe for any infant to ever be swaddled. All right, that is it for me today. Remember, parenting is a journey and you are doing an amazing job. Stay curious and keep learning, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you for joining Jennie on the Simply Pediatrics Podcast. We hope that the valuable information she shared in this episode will inspire and empower you on your holistic parenting journey. If you would like to learn more about Jennie, her Simply Pediatrics practice, or anything that she spoke about today, please check the show notes that accompany this podcast and you'll find all the links and resources you need. You can also sign up for the Simply Pediatrics mailing list so that you receive Jennie's weekly newsletters packed with vital information and holistic parenting gems. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please consider giving this page a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any episodes. And don't forget to connect with us by sharing your thoughts in the comments section below. Follow Simply Pediatrics on any and all of the social media platforms. And if you're interested in an in-person or a virtual appointment with Jennie, please see the contact details in the show notes. Stay tuned for more episodes packed with a wealth of powerful information to support you on your holistic parenting path. See you next time.